Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. You know, I wrestled with the idea of doing a review on B&B today. Let's just get something very clear. I'm always going to talk about B&B, whether it be in my live streams, usually it'd be in my live streams, I always talk about all five of the soap operas, or eventually I would sit there and talk about B&B. But the reason I was sitting there wrestling with it today is because I had so many issues with B&B that I'm wondering how people who watched today's episode really felt about it, and I think that's more what this review is going to be about. Yeah, I'll talk about some of the stuff that happened, but ultimately, does anyone care? Like, the only thing that I guess I somewhat cared about was Electra's and I did telling Will when Will was like, and I want to be with you, I want to be alone with you. And she was like, yeah, but I don't want to be alone with you tonight. You saw the disappointed look on Will's face. Now, Will sat there, he said all the right things as far as making her feel better, making her feel comfortable, making her feel like she can trust him to a point when she is ready, you know, to be excited, right? This whole thing really comes down to what Electra's willing to give as opposed to Will's patience, right? Because one of the things that they emphasize is Will should have patience and understanding and be willing to wait. Because that's the gentleman thing to do. That's what society has really pressed upon when it comes to us men. And I've seen that in Kyrese's chat. And I don't remember if I was really there or I said some stuff, but I kind of pushed back on that a bit. I agree with Kyrese as far as, listen, it's a woman's body. When they're ready, they're ready. It's cool, right? I think we can all agree on that. The thing that people seem to have a hard time understanding, and this is the reason why I feel like they kind of make men, in a sense, a little weak or just look bad, is because Will doesn't have to wait. Men are under no obligation to sit there and spend their time with somebody if they don't feel like they're getting what they want out of it. Uh, Society will try to impress upon the fact that, well, it's just sex, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it is a big deal. It is. And it's not to sit there and say, oh, well, men are just a bunch of horny dogs or anything like that, but it is a big deal. Intimacy is a very big deal. And if he feels that, listen, she doesn't want to do it, that's fine. But he doesn't have to sit there and continue to sit there and spend time with someone that doesn't want to give him what he wants. And he shouldn't be called a dog or anything like that because that's what he wants to do. It's his time. He gets to spend it on his planet how he sees fit. And I stand by that. I stand by that. Now, this whole Sheila and Luna girls talk is so stupid. All they really seem to saying is how Luna wants to be with Will, and everything that she's talking about, it just comes across as desperation. It's unattractive, it's immature. They don't really seem like they had a plan for Luna. I don't think that they expected Luna to be as popular as she was with the fans. So they're trying to keep that bad girl image, but they're just going about it in the worst way possible. Or the Brad Bell way, right? Because I've said this before, JoJ, Amanda, Candace has sat there and said that if this show is anything, it is consistent with making women look like the most pathetic creatures on the entire planet. You got Brooke, you got Taylor, you got two smart, beautiful women that are fighting over waffler. Some waffler. Both of them. Okay? You got Hope that doesn't even bother to take accountability in this episode. You have a father who is not there doing nothing but placating to his daughter. You know what I found really interesting about that conversation? There's a point where she felt like she lost it all. Deacon reminds her, you got your mom, you got me, you got Beth, you got Liam. And I'm like, okay, okay, all right. We're kind of missing someone that's actually pretty important. Are we just gonna sit there and talk about the elephant in the room? Twice they talked about Beth. Not at one point in time have they sat there and talked about Douglas. Are we just gonna act like Douglas doesn't exist? Like seriously? Your son is halfway across the world. Have she once sat there and said, "Oh, well, I go and visit him, or I do Skype calls or anything like that"? Not once. Now, of course, Luna's not there hanging out in Deacon's restaurant because she needs somewhere to hang out. She needs somewhere to sit there and have a conversation with her grandmother. So Deacon is always out. She is always there. I guess this man doesn't check his cameras. Now Smith at one point being like, "Hey, wifey, your crazy ass granddaughter was here today, and she was hanging out at the bar with you. You want to tell me what that's about?" No, no, we're not gonna do that. Okay. See, again, I can talk about pretty much any soap opera. I can talk about B&B. I mean, there's always something to talk about with all these shows. That's why I talk. That's why I did my review on Days of Our Lives. But this is pathetic. This is pathetic. Well, her throwing herself at him. Them two having a conversation about Luna, and Will Smith there reassuring Elektra, "I'm not into her. I'm into you." Bro, are you Smith there, bro, are you Smith there saying that to convince her, or are you Smith there saying that to convince yourself? Because you did sit there and look at her, and you did have a certain look. Your eyes can sit there and tell more of a story than your mouth sometimes ever could. Your eyes were looking at her like wanted her. Okay? Now we all know that they're gonna wind up hooking up. She's gonna get what she wants, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I just don't care. I know that there are people that care. I'm just not one of them. Um. Oh, and Liam, Bridget, Steffi, Finn are talking about his brain injury. Is he going to get better? He doesn't want anyone to know. He doesn't want Hope to know. He doesn't want Beth to know. And he wants to sit there and try to make the father and daughter dance. Oh, this was yesterday. Steffi was not there blaming. What was it today? Steffi was not there blaming um, Bill for Liam's accident. Finn was like, it's not like he pushed him deliberately. But she pushes, but he pushes her all. I mean, what did she say? But he pushes him all the time. Okay, but you weren't there, so you don't know if he actually caused it or not. This is what you call going off of emotions. You weren't there. You have no idea what wound up happening between Bill and Liam. But you're just assuming that Bill did something because it was the devil or he let Luna go or whatever dumbass reason that she's coming up with. And I'm like, Steffi, you sound like an idiot. See, people love to sit there and think that I just go after Hope. I don't go after any character. I critique them. I talk about them. And if they're doing something or saying something that's stupid, I call them out. I do it in all 5 of my reviews. But people somehow sit there and think, oh, you're just going after Hope. I'm talking about Hope because Hope is an idiot. But Steffi's not that far apart. Um. Anyway, Bridge is there for what it's worth, and that's just how that scene played out. And I feel like that's about it as far as this review. We're gonna get into much more of it tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk about all 5 of the shows. You know what they are. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.